Hello everyone, my name is Robin, and today we're going to do a quick reading with just 3 cards for each pile, where this is going to be about how being transgender is a blessing. Now, you could be drawn to this either because you yourself are trans. I am trans, non-binary to be exact, and this could be about like what your life brings as far as blessings because you are trans, what blessings you'll have in life when you take a new step in transition, whether for the first time or whether you're transitioning lifelong, whether you're just always in transition. Who knows what gender I am today? Who knows what gender I'll be tomorrow? Or, if you have a particular plan and you're setting out to do it now and it's all lying ahead in front of you and it's exciting. Or, scary, because that's also a possibility. Things can be both. Things can be both joyful and exciting, and also you can have a little bit of like anxiety about it, and that's perfectly normal. Why is my phone giving me messages right now? I'm so sorry. So this is going to be either if you are trans or if you know somebody who is trans, and you're I would recommend that you get consent first if you are going to if you're going to choose intuitively a pile from this reading, thinking about somebody else who is trans. It would be great, probably for the best, if they were on board in knowing that you are getting a tarot reading about them, although this is a general reading. It won't have too many specifics, but I usually advise that if you're thinking about somebody else while getting one of these like pick a pile readings, they should know about it. But if you want to put your mind at ease about anything regarding being trans or someone else being trans, then, or just trans issues and trans rights in general right now, which I know is weighing a lot on a lot of our minds. If you'd like some reassurance and some reminders that not everything about being transgender is scary, or people trying to take away our rights, or full of hate toward us, or doom and gloom and danger and depression. This is for joyful things only. So this is for blessings. So how this is going to work is you're going to intuitively choose one of these decks that you are drawn to, because I'm going to use one deck for each pile, and I'm going to do one general reading for each pile. So it's only going to be about 3 cards for each, and then I may throw in an oracle card from the Vessel Oracle deck as well. But you can go ahead and pick the pile that you feel like you're going to get the best reading from, that pertains to you. You can choose intuitively now, so I'll give you a moment. Okay, so now we're going to shuffle on camera, and we're going to start with, should be out of frame. There we go. So we're going to start with pile 1. How is transness, or being trans, a blessing. For pile 1. And their loved ones. Ooh. Queen of Wands, the Three of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles. Let me just put that up there so that you can see it without the glare of the light. So I feel like pile 1, you are represented in this Queen of Wands. Now, I know that the tarot courts, at least in some decks and in the traditional deck, Rider-Waite style, you know, they are gendered, but you can take that with a grain of salt and adjust it as you see fit. So you don't necessarily have to be trans feminine. But I feel like pile 1, you are represented in this Queen of Wands. Now, the Queen of Wands is the water of fire. So the elemental guardian of water, or the element of water as the guardian of fire. So the Queen of Wands is someone who is very emotionally in tuned, but also passionate and creative, who uses their emotional attunement to protect fiercely and to fight for what's right, and or to create beautiful things, to always say yes to oneself, to always say, you know, my life is worthy and I have something to say, and I am worth my time, I'm worth my energy, and I have a wonderful vision of the world and my life, and I'm going to create that for myself. The Queen of Wands is usually, I think of the queens as the internal mastery of the suit. So the queens as the internal mastery of the suit, the kings as the external mastery of the suit. The internal mastery of fire would be, you know, using all of your abilities at your disposal to create what you envision, to inspire yourself as well as potentially others, but, you know, mainly to whenever you enter a room, you just kind of exude this striking majesty and beauty and confidence and passion and creativity and life, just life. And it just you know, it radiates around you like an aura, and people can sense it whenever they come near you. They look at you and they think, wow, I want to be like them. Or, you know, wow, I want to know more about how they live their life, because they are so empowered, so able to, without, maybe not without any self-doubts, because, you know, we are all human. I think doubt is just sometimes part of the human experience. But quickly moving through any doubts that come up, and quickly, you know, taking any cautions that they may be hinting at, and then quickly going, yes, I understand those things, and I'm still brave enough to move forward, and I'm going to. So that is this Queen of Wands energy. Now, this is also someone, I feel like this is a more mature person that you might be. So, I mean, I didn't call you old. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But anyway, shush, I'm an older millennial. Just, I'm sorry, I cracked myself up. I'm an older millennial. It's okay. I'm not calling anybody old because I'm 33. Like, we're not here to judge. You've got all your life ahead of you, I'm sure. I'm gonna try to cut that out. Anyway, but I feel like this is a more like a more emotionally mature, a more grounded, kind of more experienced person. This may be someone, you know, like I said, I'm an older millennial, you know, so maybe somebody in your 30s or 40s. I often hear people in their 30s saying, you know, I thought I was real hot shit. I thought I was real smart in my 20s. I thought I was, you know, just got everything going for me, but the 20s really sucked, honestly. The 20s were not good in hindsight, and the 30s are a lot better. And then I hear from people in their 40s who are older than me saying, you know, that's also how I felt that's also how I, like, whenever I reached 40, that's how I felt about my 30s too. Like, you know, I thought I was real hot shit in my 30s, and now that I'm 40, I feel just so in control of my life and so open to embracing the world and moving through it gracefully, you know, without as much angst, without as much hardship. You've got a lot firmer grounding, and you've already created some of the backbone that's going to support you, the foundations, your, you know, friends, your support systems, whatever. Maybe you've already transitioned, or at least a lot of the ways that you had hoped to transition. Maybe you've made a huge step on that already. You feel comfortable in your body now. Maybe you already, you know, you've already done a lot of processing on that front, and that's shown here, where there is this. That was my cat. There is this, at least this history of things that you've gone through and that really hurt, and that they have informed who you are. And it's not that you've forgotten these parts of yourself, or that you've forgotten or left behind these pains, these hardships, these traumas, even things that quite literally broke your heart, and you know, these things healing, you know, it's kind of it's spread around now, very very popularized and well known now, that like healing is not linear. And also, I think healing is not recovering this idealized version of who you used to be, or this idealized future person that I'm going to be. You know, it's not really either of those things. It's kind of living all at once with your past self, your present self, and your hopeful, you know, future self, kind of in communion and in conversation about, like, yeah, I went through hard things and they really messed me up, and it was very difficult for a very long time, and sometimes it is still difficult, and that's okay. And in the present, you know, you've made a lot of strides. You feel like maybe you have some of these things cropping up from time to time. Maybe there's still room for healing, but you know, that's part of the continual conversation of who you are, and who you've been and who you're going to be. Now, I think that also this the way that the heart is like cracked, and not just pierced, but cracked, and there's this like water coming out of it, not just blood, but water. And this reminds me of while it is painful to go through traumatic experiences, while we wouldn't choose these things for ourselves, and we don't have to justify anything that happened to us as like, well, it was for a purpose. It's like, no, it doesn't have to have been for a purpose. It just happened. That's it. It just happened, and we're about to get a kitty visitor. So, without any judgment on the event, it happened. And as part of this continual healing conversation of where we've been, who we are now, and who we're going to be, you know, being able to allow all of the feelings that we have about what happened to move through us and to release, and not too quickly either. You know, it's the point of feeling these feelings is not to get them over with and out of the way. No, it's the point is to create an all-accepting pathway for these emotions to flow through without being blocked by any self-judgments, by any self-hatred, by any of those, like, those thoughts of, well, maybe I deserved this, or maybe the universe, maybe this was supposed to happen. Those kinds of thoughts are things that block the emotion from going through. You know, once you put a story on it of like, this is why this happened, that's when a block forms, and it you know, you put a story in front of the emotion to try not to feel it. So the more that you're able to just kind of like, with these cracks in this heart, to just kind of like, and allow your heart, allow your emotional depths to expand just a little bit, and you can retract again later, like taking breaths in and out. You can expand a little bit, and then, you know, I'm a little bit more comfortable with feeling all of this, and then I have to protect again. I have to self-protect again. Okay, I can let a little bit more in, or I can let a little bit more through. You know, feeling everything as far as the pains of the things that you've been through. It doesn't have to happen all at once. It can happen kind of incrementally like that. But eventually what happens is your heart, your emotional capacity, your emotional maturity, your emotional intelligence, however you want to put it, your ability to feel love for yourself, or if love isn't, if you don't want to frame it like that, that's totally okay. You can be like self-acceptance or self-neutrality. Being able to like neutrally allow all of the feelings that you have, that you're capable of feeling, to kind of like move through you without judgment, without narrative, without that story. Now that will help you to connect all of those differing parts of yourself, a lot of which are very creative. You know, sometimes in traumatic situations, we lose, because I know I have, you know, we lose communication with some of the more passionate or creative parts of ourselves. And then, you know, in this healing process of like learning to accept all of the emotions as they happen without restricting them, and to allow them to be in conversation with each other, your past, present, and future, to be more malleable and flexible like that. It does allow This is my cat Penelope. She's very interested in being helpful today. So please forgive her. Meow meow. The more that you allow that to happen and to heal over time, you regain some of these past, or some of these maybe past or maybe underdeveloped, maybe they never got the chance to develop skills that you that you absolutely are capable of and have been capable of the entire time. Now they are present in your life, and I feel like for this pile, y'all have already gone through a lot of this process that I described already, that you've already found ways to regain contact with inspiration, creative vision, maybe spiritual connection if you're a spiritual person, just passion for life and maybe justice. Maybe you are looking at the world now and you are thinking, I have the power to do something about it. I have the power to help other people to see who they are and who they can be. And I've been through this healing process myself already, and now I have the ability to help others to get there too. I can create the pathway to show them the way. I can hold the light for them. I can ferry them across the dark waters of difficult emotions. I can protect their rights in civil courts, in the different state legislatures that are attacking trans kids' rights right now, and are attacking bodily autonomy. Maybe you are someone who is called to do work like that because you have seen both the worst and the most devastating parts of life, and also the best and the most fulfilling and the most whole and joyful parts of life too, where you want people who come after you, like trans kids, to be protected from these things that were so hard, and to be able to move quickly to self-actualization and bodily autonomy, being able to be who they are confidently and freely, being able to help them to see that they are not only not alone, but also that they are deeply, fiercely loved and protected, and that they are beautiful and wonderful and deserve the entire world. So I think for you, regarding how being trans is a blessing, I think it brings you community. I think it brings you a deeper understanding of yourself, and how to navigate life in a way that is more fulfilling to you. And I feel like it also gives you connection to different generations and just different people from different walks of life. I think that you encounter people who know that you are trans, and they find that brilliantly, astoundingly awesome. Like trans kids that aren't sure yet if they're going to be accepted for being trans, and then they see you, a trans adult, or someone who's older than them, and they think, wow, I can be like them. Wow, I do have hope, and I can get through what I'm going through right now. And if they're struggling through this right now, then you can say, yeah, I've been there too, but you know what? I'm now so much better than I was. so much happier than I was, that joy is possible on the other side of pain. And you're not alone, and you don't have to go through this alone. Or maybe you're younger than someone. Maybe you're a younger trans person maybe you are a trans child whose rights are being threatened. Maybe you are a trans child who is either you have been the target of, anti-trans legislation. Maybe transphobes have looked at you and said, oh, well, I'm trying to protect you. And you've said, no, I don't want your protection because it is just harming me. I don't want a transphobic person's, advice. I don't want your legislation on my body. I don't want your opinion in my life. You are irrelevant to me. And maybe you standing up and being part of the activism and the conversation, whether in person or whether online, or in whatever capacity, maybe within your personal friend group, maybe within your school, maybe within your family, maybe your parents are supportive. If they are not, I'm very sorry. Mine were not either. And you're not alone in that. But maybe if you are a trans child, maybe you are still approaching life from this desire to be an inspiration to somebody, or desire and passion because you already know your worth and your right to be exactly who you are. You're already so you're so powerful in that already. Like, I'm so amazed by I'm sorry about my cat. She's perfectly fed, she's perfectly watered, she is fine. She just wants attention. And I will give her attention after the reading, so don't worry. Now, maybe you, what was I saying? So because you were represented by the Queen of Wands, so if you are a younger trans person, you're still inspiring people, because of how much you already know, and how much you already understand, and how much you already are your own ally, how much you are able to gather people around you and around wanting to fight for you, and how you were able to lead others even if you are young. That's an amazing thing that I see. Generation Z, and I see younger people who are already so confident and able to, and knowledgeable about the world, and able to stand up for what's right. And that is an amazing thing to see. Now, whether you are an older person, or of closer to my generation or older, or whether you are a younger person, remember that you inside of you remain in conversation with your past selves or your future selves, and ask your past selves and your future selves if there's something that you can learn from them. Like, you can literally write it in a journal, or you can internally have this conversation with yourself and ask, when I was younger than I am now, what did I need to see in the world? What did I wish that I had seen? And how can I be that person? And if you are younger and you're thinking, I don't know if they're going to let me grow older. I don't know if there is a future for me. I don't know if anybody's going to protect me in the future. I don't know if if anybody's going to support me. I don't know how I'm, if you're thinking things like that, know that there's lots of people in the world that dearly, dearly want you to succeed, to survive, to live your best life, and believe in the possibility of a happy and fulfilled future self. And that remember that you are taking steps toward them every day, even if it doesn't feel like it. Even if it doesn't feel like it, every day that you continue to be alive, every day that you know in your heart of hearts who you really are, that is a successful day. Even if it is painful, even if people talk down to you, even if people try to legislate against you, every day that you survive and you know who you are and you believe in the possibility of a happy and whole and confident future self, every day that is a success. Every day you are becoming the you that you want to be. So remain in conversation with all of you. Remain in conversation with your past child selves who needed reassurance. Reassure them now. Say, hey, I know that you're sad and scared, but I'm here for you, and we're going to get through this together. And look at how many friends and how many activists and how many lawmakers are on our side. And look at how many people are going to make sure that there is a future for us. But we have to get there. And remember to be in conversation with your future self, who is always changing to what you would like to be. Know that there is a future version of you who loves you, who is happy to be you and happy to have been you, and who knows the way out of this feeling, all of these difficult feelings, who knows the way out, and this future self can guide you there. You have to believe in their existence, that you will be in the future looking back on you now, your present self, and thinking, I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that you found little ways every day to be yourself and to keep going. Thank you. Thank you, because of you, because of your strength, because of your resilience, because of your belief in me, your future self, because of your belief in me, I now exist. Thank you for bringing me into this world, because this life is wonderful. So, I think one more card from the Vessel Oracle for pile 1, just to see if there's any self-care. So, remember that even if you were very passionate about making a difference, even if you have a lot of ideas, a lot of creative ideas for how you want to live and how you want to empower others, remember that you also have an inner child self or an inner past self that does sometimes need reassurance and does sometimes need, hey, to slow down and take a break. You are not super person here. you, um, and a lot of times as passionate people and people that want to make a difference in the world, for social justice, for civil rights, for environmental issues, for anything like that, often we try to take on too much. We want to make a difference. We believe in the difference that we are making, and we really like just burn so brightly and so fiercely, and we're so determined that we burn out sometimes. Remember to go steady and slowly, because whenever you burn out, you know, you start having some of these thoughts again that are very painful, or they kind of weigh you down. And you know, that's to be expected sometimes, but just know that you don't have to be the only one shining. You don't have to be the only one expending energy to bring about your vision for the future. Other people are there for you too. And if they're not around you in the immediate vicinity right now, know that there are people across state lines. There are people within your state. There are people within the legislature that are fighting for your rights. In every state where they are attacking trans rights, there are people who are fighting those legislatures and fighting those transphobic bills. So you don't have to do everything all by yourself. You do have people that are on your side, and you do have people that also want to see this future you, and who also want to protect anyone who is vulnerable and going through things right now. So social media, I know, is addictive. Sometimes people that really care about justice and really care about making a difference in the world, we get addicted to the news. You know, scrolling what's going on. Oh God, what fire is happening now? What environmental devastation? What attack on trans rights is happening now? What thing? Who said what bigoted, ignorant thing now? And it just goes on and on and on and on. You have to make the decision, the conscious decision, sometimes to say, okay, I'm overwhelmed. My heart is too full of worry. I need to put this down. I need to put this down right now. And I need to allow myself time to rest and to tell myself nice things. Anytime you feel yourself, you find yourself like thinking things like, I'm alone, or they're trying to kill us, or you know, I don't know if I'll survive, or I'll never be able to. Anytime your brain says everyone, always, no one, or never, that is a symptom of a trauma belief. I'm always going to be unhappy. I'm never gonna be my full self. I'm never gonna be accepted. No one knows the true me or likes me. Everyone is out to get me. These are traumatic beliefs, and they're not true. They hold a lot of stuck emotions, but they're not the truth. It's important to be able to remove, like I said about removing the narrative, remove the narrative of like, whenever you have a belief like, everyone is out to get me, take that and look at it and think, some people are out to get me, but some people are also out to protect me. Some people know that I need help and they want to help me. You know, take those all or nothing thoughts and contradict them. Say, I'll never be happy. Say, wait a minute. Sometimes I feel unhappy sometimes I will feel unhappy in the future. And sometimes, because no emotion is forever, no experience is eternal. Sometime in the future, I will feel happy, or I will feel safe. I will feel understood. And allow both things to exist. Sometimes I will feel afraid, and sometimes I will feel safe. Some people will never like me, and some people will. So anytime you find yourself saying always, never, forever, everyone, no one, any of those absolute statements, say, wait a minute, I know what that is. That's a trauma belief. And contradict it. Open it up to more possibilities. Go, I think there's another possibility here. Okay. Sometimes. That's how you allow the emotions to go through. That's how you practice self-care. That's how, in those moments where you have burned so brightly that you are needing to recover, and you say, I can't burn my candle at both ends. I can't burn all the time. Sometimes I need rest, or sometimes I need help. Sometimes I need to chill and get off the internet. Sometimes I need to stop watching the news for like a few days. Sometimes I need to stop scrolling at least for a few hours. Those are the moments when you are practicing self-care, when you can I see other possibilities. I feel as if I'll never be happy. And I know that that isn't true. Because sometimes I will be unhappy and sometimes I will be happy. This whole version of me in the future does exist. And now I can rest. If you need to take a lot of naps because you do a lot and you put a lot of pressure on yourself and you just do a lot of things and you are so full of energy that you're just go, create. Naps are really helpful. Naps are amazing. And as kids, as like tiny itty bitty kids, we did not understand how wonderful naps were. We wanted to be awake all the time. But as an adult, naps rock. Naps are amazing. And naps are very healing. They allow you to process a lot of emotions, to get things unstuck, it's very restorative. One of the best ways that the body heals itself and the brain. So remember to self-care as well. So I believe that your trans blessings are that you are more in tune with who you are, and you're more whole than you were in the past. You believe in the self that you are in the future, and that you have the possibility to be even happier, even more whole, even more expansive and heart healed. And your blessings as a trans person are guiding others, the knowledge to do so, the experience, the creative vision, the bravery, the courage to do so, and also the courage to live your life as who you are. You also, your trans blessings are the ability to recognize your worth and your needs, and then to meet those needs, to take time out for yourself when you need to say, I am worthwhile just existing. Trans existence is resistance. You existing is a success. So, those are your trans blessings. Thank you so much for tuning into this reading today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you are encountering any difficult emotions right now, or if you need to process something else a little bit, please reach out to someone that you trust. You can reach out to the Trans Lifeline if you're in the United States. You can reach out to the Trevor Project if you're in the United States. In any country, maybe not any country, but in a lot of countries, there are national helplines and national suicide advice lines to help you through times when you think you are in danger from yourself, and someone will be there on the phone for you to talk to kind of help you to get through that very difficult moment when you're considering whether or not you should be here. But I hope that from this reading you see that you absolutely should be here. So please continue to be here and treat every day that you are as an immaculate success. So thank you so much for tuning into the reading. I hope you have a great day. Bye for now. Hello, pile number 2. This is your reading with the Modern Witch Tarot for your trans blessings. How transness is a blessing for you. So I'll just shuffle on camera here for a little bit. And if you hear any sounds in the background, it is probably either my cat or my roommate, because I do not live alone. Own my own home in this economy. Ooh. So we're just going to get 3 cards, and maybe later something from the Vessel Oracle. Ooh. Let's make sure that we can't see the glare there. All right, so we have the Fool, the Page of Wands, and the Sun. We've got 2 of these reversed. So what this is telling me here is that this is probably someone at the beginning of their transition journey, or maybe you're just coming into the awareness that you are trans. You're wondering if you are trans, or you maybe you're sure that you are, but you're not sure what to do about it yet. This is kind of like the first inklings of, I think I should take a step in this journey. I think maybe I will be happier if I do. And this is a time of like opportunity, of opening up your awareness of what is available as far as transition, gender affirming care, any kind of like hormonal transition or surgical transitions. You're just, maybe you have found out some of the basics. I feel like you've already found out some of the basics of what's available, and it's like it's inspired you to learn more or to like go towards some of these things because you feel like you see yourself in those things, in those options. You're like, yeah, actually, yeah, I do want that. Or like, I feel like if I had that, so many things would be easier in my life, or so many things would be better. I would feel better. Or maybe you've already started a little bit and you're just kind of first seeing some of the first changes. Maybe you maybe you've gotten a first appointment with a doctor that's going to prescribe you hormones, or maybe you've gotten a consult for a surgery already. But something about this feels like, kind of, oh my God, where'd that fly come from? Something about this feels like excitement, but also like hesitation, where there's something internally resonating with you, like buzzing, like, yes, I want this. Give it to me. And maybe even the intensity of that excitement can sometimes be scary, being like, why am I reacting so strongly to this? Or maybe you figured it out and you're fine, but there's this little bit of, the reason these cards are reversed, I feel like, is because there's a little bit of apprehension. There's like, okay, I want that thing. I see myself, I see myself as a trans person now, and I want various options for me, and I want to be accepted as who I am, and I still feel like, is it gonna be everything that I hoped for? Is it gonna be everything that I want? Is it gonna make me ultimately happy and fulfilled? And maybe there's a little fear of like, if I take these steps, am I really gonna know all of the ways that I'm gonna change? And is it gonna be safe for me? Am I gonna find later that I'm making some kind of mistake? I don't know, like all of these transphobic bigots like are saying that making a mistake would be devastating. Is it gonna ruin my life? Oh no. You have this inner feeling like, I really don't think that that's the case. 'Cause like everything in my heart and soul and body is like, yes, I need this. I want this. This is me. But the amounts of like talking and misinformation of bigots and transphobes and these things, they kind of like, they wheedle their way into our brains and cause doubts and whatever, and it kind of, if there's enough of these terrible, doom and gloom apocalyptic voices that are then it what they can do is they can make it more difficult for us to hear our own internal voice and our own internal sense of knowing, our own internal guidance, our own soul, our own self, our own heart. And I think that a lot of there is a little bit of courage, of bravery, of stepping into, owning I am trans and I'm going to be my whole, full, best self. There's a lot of bravery that comes with that just in general, first of all. Just point blank. There is a lot of bravery in that. There's so many people in this world that never become their whole, full selves. Some that forget how to expand. Some forget how to listen to that inner voice. Some get so comfortable comfortable in, like, what is it? Sedated almost. Comfortable in pain or comfortable in discomfort, or they stay in that comfort zone for too long that they don't expand, and then they have this lackluster life and go, well, something's missing, but I don't know what, and I'm too scared to find out. You're not going to be one of those people. You're already so fierce, so, like, even if you don't feel like it yet, you've got that inner fierceness to you. You're like, I'm not going to sit around and wish that my life was something else. I'm going to actually do something about it. So you are a brave person. You are someone who is looking at who you are and listening to that internal voice and letting it guide you to who you want to be. And that's really frickin' awesome. Now, yeah, there are scary parts of it. There's, like, being trans in the current social climate, in the current political climate, it comes with its difficulties. I'm not going to pretend like it's all, it's not all sunshine and sunflowers. A lot of it is. Being your full self, that comes with so much more energy and so much more, like, you're not carrying as much that's weighing you down. You're able to express yourself better. You're able to share more parts of you with other people, make deeper connections, and you're able to feel so many joys of living that previously were buried underneath, like, dysphoria or uncertainty. Even if you don't know if you have dysphoria or not, sometimes it can be kind of hard to tell. Is this dysphoria or is this depression? Is this dysphoria or is this anxiety? Is this dysphoria or is this trauma? Sometimes we don't know yet. Sometimes it can be kind of difficult to find out. But underneath those things, whenever you take steps to find out, what is this and how do I make it better? And I do believe that I can make it better. So I'm gonna try some things. Just allow yourself to try. And then whenever those things kind of weighing on you that you've been carrying for so long, that just hold you back in life, those things kind of fall away little by little as you become more of yourself, more of your whole self, and you're less and less afraid, and you're more and more authentic. You have more energy to grow, to experience joy, to find people like you, just more energy for living, honestly. Now, there will be challenges. There will be things that don't go the way that you planned. There is a degree of trust, or like trusting the process of whenever you decide to go on any kind of transition journey, whenever you go on hormones, or whenever you do a surgery, you know, there is a process. It happens over time. Even with a surgery that is like you know, obviously a literal surgery is more like instantaneous, but you still have to do the like consulting, and maybe in particular areas you have to get a therapist letter or whatever, you know. There's the process of discernment of like jumping through the hoops of like the bureaucratic end of it, but also like the internal, like, is this what I want? And is yes, and going to the consults, or like, actually, yeah, I do feel better and I do want to do this and whatever, you know. And it's okay for things to take time. And it's okay to take little steps if you're worried about very sudden changes. You know, myself, not to get into too many details, but I have been someone who I thought I knew what I wanted, and then I took steps and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a moment to reassess. And I took a moment to reassess, kind of considered my options, medically, personally, and I was like, okay, well then I feel like I've taken a proper moment again, so I'm gonna continue on this step. And I continue on this step for a while. I'm like, okay, pause. No, some changes have happened, some things are different. Let me test how I feel. And then I like feel. And then I feel, and I think, okay, well, this is where things are at now. Would they be better if I did this thing, or would they be better if I did this thing? And then I make a decision, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try this thing. I was like, and you know, being trans is not just like, there's not just one way to do it. There's not just one way to be trans. There's not just one way to take hormones. There's not just one way to have surgeries. There are lots of different options. What I'm getting at is that you don't have to take wholesale, you know, somebody else's transition journey and somebody else's timeline and somebody else's steps and what they did to, you know, achieve their, you know, gender confirmation. You don't have to take somebody else's journey and model yours exactly after theirs. And you don't have to judge your journey after theirs. You can, you know, try a thing and then decide if it was good or not. And then try another thing and then decide if that was good or not. You know, it's not... A lot of transphobes, sometimes they act like, well, if you step even a toe into being trans, your life is over. Your life has changed forever. Doom, gloom. And it's like, nah. Just nah. Nah. Lots of things about hormonal transition are reversible. Some are not, but the things that are not reversible happen after a lot of time. So with that time that it takes for something to become not reversible, you know, you have that time to think, this is going well. I like this. This is going well. Oh, look, I've achieved results that are not reversible, but by that point, you're probably pretty sure that you like it. So it's hard to make a wrong decision like that. And and something like surgeries, you know, whether it should be this way or not, there's a lot of medicalized gatekeeping. And you know, transphobes and cis people have put so many barriers in the way of getting gender confirmation surgeries that by the time you jump through all the hoops that they want you to jump through, and you actually, you know, take all the therapy that they want you to take and do all the consults and you do all the research and you talk to all the doctors and you think about it more and by that time you're gonna be pretty fucking sure. If you weren't sure before, you're gonna probably be pretty fucking sure by then. And It may cost a lot of money, but technically, surgeries can sometimes be reversible. By which I mean, disclaimer, 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 by which I mean, it may not be exactly the same as it was before the surgery the first time, but you can, like, there is a possibility. Okay, let's just take a possibility, a hypothetical situation. If you're not sure if you want, like, if you're trans masc, okay, and you're not sure if you want top surgery or not, there's actually ways that you can get like a reduction, the top surgery method or the top surgery way, and you can get a reduction instead of like full top surgery. Now, I knew someone who did that, and then they ended up getting the full top surgery later, so it was like they paid twice for the same surgery. But it did give them the peace of mind in the middle, in the, in between time of, it was like a step and then another step rather than all at once. So, there's trade-offs. And then another hypothetical, similar hypothetical situation, if a person that got top surgery decided, I want to have boobs again. Well, there are breast forms. You can sometimes have like the outer look, you can have the outer presentation of having that, or I don't know anybody personally who has done this, but like theoretically, hypothetically, you could probably get, breast implants later if you decided, hey, I would like that again. I transitioned. I had this transitional surgery, and then later I decided after assessing things or changing in my life or whatever, my gender changed, or my concept of who I am changed. After 20 years, I feel like I've changed in my gender. I'm gender fluid now, or whatever, or I'm something else, and I want to have, breasts again, and then maybe a person who has had top surgery, goes and has top surgery the other way and gets implants instead. All of these are hypothetical. I'm not a doctor. You would have to go through a lot of consulting. I'm not sure what exactly is possible on that front specifically because I have never gone through that journey. But, my point is that this is a time to explore, to try things. This is a time to get curious. This is a time to understand all of the different ways that there are to be trans, and you can go, holy wow, I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store and there's all these, beautiful Skittles, different color Skittles are all around me, and all these different like various candies, there's all these nerds and all these Kit Kats and all these Twizzlers and all the whatever kind of candy you like. There all this stuff all around me, and everything is open to me. And if you were to imagine yourself in the future, like happier, more personally expressed, like expressing more of yourself, if you were more, what's the words that I'm looking for? Kind of just more free. If you were to feel more free in yourself, what would you be looking for in this candy store of trans existence and possibilities, of identities, of how you will present your gender self to the world, how you want people to address you, how you want to dress, how you want to act, how you want to play with gender, how you want to present yourself with gender, how you want your body to be if you were going to take a hormonal or a surgical route. This is the time of, wow, if I could have anything, what would I want to try first? You don't have to buy the whole candy store all right now. You can just go, okay, before I get overwhelmed, what do I want to try first? And go from there. So I think that your trans blessing is the diversity of options, the curiosity to find out what those are, the bravery to dip your toe in and try, and the patience with yourself to allow things to unfold. And to know that if you make a mistake, you can recover. You can get through it. And mistakes might not be mistakes. Maybe they're just, oh, I learned a thing. I learned that wasn't for me. And that's okay. I learned that this other thing actually is for me. I didn't expect that. And that is okay too. So, let me get you an oracle card. Oh. Are we doing this one? Connect. Ooh, yes, that one's good. Okay. For your reading, connect. Talk with other trans people. Connecting with other trans people right now, other people that have gone through different medical journeys, different people who have had different identities, different people who have navigated public life or social life as a trans person before, and you want to know what that looks like, practically, emotionally. Talk with people, talk with trans people, because they are going to be who you will learn more of the options from. They will be your support system as you go through and try some of these things. Don't assume that you already know everything that's out there, because I promise you, no trans person knows everything that's out there. There's going to be something somewhere. Some trans person has learned a thing and been away and done a thing that another trans person that thought they knew everything about being trans, it goes, oh my God, I never thought of that before. That fucking rocks. I didn't know that was possible. If you have any fears about if I make this step, will it mean that I can never do this other thing? Or will it mean that certain things aren't reversible? Or, what does the timeline actually look like? And what will it look like for me? That's where talking to people will help. You need to, like I said, be curious, gather as much information as you can. Don't let gathering information hold you back, but gather a lot of information to empower you. The point is to empower yourself to do what your heart or soul is already telling you to do, right? Don't bog yourself down with fuck all that. Because when you reach out to people, sometimes people will have bad opinions. Not everybody. Even other trans people sometimes need healing and need therapy. So unfortunately, sometimes cracking myself up, I'm sorry. Sometimes people will have bad opinions, and that's just par for the course of being human, okay? So don't let it discourage you. Don't let anybody tell you that's the only way. This is the only way. Go, no. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your opinion, but while I'm gonna write it down over here, I'm gonna just put a bullet point, and I'm gonna go on to the next thing that I'm gonna learn. And if it contradicts this other thing, and I know that there's a diversity of experiences, and that is, That is to be expected. Don't let anyone tell you no. And don't let anyone tell you only. Even other trans people. But especially don't let transphobes and bigots tell you no or only. Just reach out. You don't have to make yourself too vulnerable. With all these eyes here, whenever you're connecting with others, you can reach out and get information without putting yourself too much on display. Sometimes whenever we're in a situation of we're still trying to like gather information, we're still trying to be curious, we're still trying to find out our options, putting yourself too much on display can come with this this pressure to already know who you are and exactly what you want and exactly who you are. And that one, if you're in this stage, that's probably not entirely true. It's just like this pressure to appear as if you've got everything under control. You appear as if you know everything, and you don't. You know, if you're pretending that you know everything, that's really going to inhibit. That's really going to harm your ability to gather more information and be curious and ask questions, isn't it? So just know that you don't owe anybody any information about yourself that you don't want to tell them. Even to other trans people. Sometimes people are nosy. Sometimes people don't even mean any harm in being nosy. They're just nosy. So just don't, while you're asking questions and gathering information, you know, you can say, hey, is it okay if I ask you about this thing? I just am curious about the options available. I'm curious about your experiences. If you are willing to tell me, and if you're not, you know, then I can go somewhere else. I can ask somebody else. I can find the information somewhere else. So just like you're giving them the ability to say no and to back away and to say, no, I don't want to put myself on display that way, you also are not obligated to be on display either. Especially if you are feeling vulnerable, especially if you don't know yet for sure, and if being on display would make you too afraid to be authentic and to discover what's best for you or what you want ultimately. So again, I think that your trans blessings are a wealth of information that is available to you on the internet, in studies, in libraries. There is a wealth of information out there of options available to you. There's also people online who are willing to be helpful and to tell you what their trans experiences are and have been, what's worked for them, what's not worked for them. Your trans blessings are curiosity, are innovation, even if you want to mix and match things that maybe no one has ever done before. Bravery to sit with the unknown and to sit with the unknown of, I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know what this is going to ultimately lead to, but I'm going to find out. That's bravery. And your trans blessings are also, you know, a community who will eventually, you know, as you feel comfortable, will be able to see the true you. Will be able to witness your journey, what you choose to share of it, and to, you know, support you along that journey. Also, trust in yourself to stumble or to try things that maybe they don't work, but then you get back up and you try something else. And ultimately, your trans blessing is going to be this ultimate joy and fulfillment and autonomy of I became the me that I knew was possible. I looked into what I wanted, and I looked into, how everybody else was being them, and I took the steps that I needed to for myself, and I decided what those steps were, and I followed through, and now I'm reaping the benefits and I'm reaping the rewards, and now I have the gender expression and the gender identity that fits me the best and brings me closer to my own heart and soul, people that are like me, people that are different from me, brings me closer to the world at large, because I am a biodiverse a biodiverse part of a larger ecosystem that is thriving. Sorry about the suddenly nature metaphor, but I hope you get my meaning. Alrighty. Well, and the flag here, eventually you will be so happy and also proud of yourself. You will be proud of all of the steps that you've taken to become your whole self, your integrated self, your most expressed self. And you will be proud even of the times that you stumbled. And you will be proud of the moments where you felt vulnerable and then reassessed how open you want to be, who you want to be open with. You will be so proud of everything that you learned and all the experience that you gained, and every step that you took to meet yourself. So, Pile 2, thank you so much for watching this reading, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. If you are feeling any kind of way where you need support, just remember that you can always, if you're in the United States, you can reach out to the Trans Lifeline or the Trevor Project. And then most countries will also, if you are ever having suicidal ideation, most countries will have a some kind of helpline or suicide advice line that will help you move through those very difficult times whenever you need someone to help you, to protect you, to protect you from your darkest moments. You just need an advocate to be there with you and hold your hand and say, you're gonna make it through this. So if you feel like that at all after this reading, or in any of the days or months to come, don't feel afraid to reach out to one of the resources that I just mentioned, or to anybody that you trust. Thank you again so much, and I hope you have a great day, and bye for now. Hi, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. I'm just going to shuffle on camera real quick, and we're going to draw 3 cards for how being trans, or how transness is a blessing for you. So what are Pile 3's trans blessings? Oh my, okay. What was that? Okay. I always am unsure with certain decks whether or not I should take note, or whether or not I should keep jumpers like that. Because you see, whenever you start allowing cards to jump out of the deck, they do it more. You give an inch and they take a mile. So we're gonna put them back in the deck. We're gonna just have them be drawn the traditional way. Also, certain cardstock is like slippery, so it kind of like increases the chances of things flying everywhere. So that's why usually I just put cards back if they fly out. Unless I am like very intuitively guided to do otherwise, which I'm not very intuitively guided at this time to do that, so. All right, so what are pile 3's transgender blessings? So this card was one of the first ones to jump out. When it jumped out, it was reversed, so that's interesting. We'll just take that and know it for the time being, and not read too much into it at the moment. I feel like there's a lot of like your trans blessings, your blessings as a trans person are I think to some degree they are still being uncovered, but there is this sense of rising above a situation, choosing to continually do so, sometimes to take the high road. I'm not sure in what sense. Oh, okay, I think I'm getting something here. So what I'm sensing here is that you are someone who tries to be very emotionally understanding, someone who tries to be very emotionally attuned to other people, tries to be accommodating, tries to be a helper, tries to be a friend, an ally, and I know that word is very loaded. Usually I say that you cannot identify as an ally. The people, the community has to choose you as an ally. Some people use the word accomplice. The point is, and I'm not saying that you're necessarily like I'm not saying that you're cis or anything necessarily. This can be, of course, this is a group reading. I'm just saying that you are someone who likes to be a helper. You are someone who likes to heal and make space for people, who likes to listen, who likes to understand, who likes to open people up and explore their majesty internally with them. You are someone who likes to help people to transform. Sorry about the noise. You are someone who likes to help people transform, and you give them the space to do so. That is an amazing skill to have. One of the problems, a lot of us are very familiar with the benefits of this kind of thing, of these kind of skills, to to be able to create trust, to be able to have compassion and empathy and understanding, compassion for people. These are very positive qualities, and they can help people to grow and to transform and to learn. One of the trouble spots with it is that sometimes you prioritize other people's transformation before your own. You tend to sometimes prioritize other people's needs, other people's emotions before your own. And that is a very common thing that comes up for people who aspire to be healers, people that aspire to be like if you are considered the therapist friend of the group of your friends, if you are someone who just is very fascinated with a lot of the different ways that emotions can form and come together and create this tapestry of, like in the movie Ratatouille, whenever like the one taste or flavor goes woo and makes a different color and spiral, and then another flavor goes woo and makes another color and spiral or whatever design. Those are like emotions to you, and you like to see the ways that they interact and interplay, and they come together and they go apart and they create new forms of emotion, and you're someone who likes to see kind of systems of relationship, internally and externally, it seems. And often you are more sometimes patient and more interested and giving more time and respect and attention to other people and their emotions than your own. And this causes internal conflict within you, I think. Now, how this relates specifically to being trans, I think, is that maybe you consider yourself someone who is going to be an educator. Maybe you think, I can help people to understand me, or I can help people to understand trans people in general. I can help people to come to new awarenesses about what being trans is and what our needs are and what our journeys are like. I can help people to maybe sometimes you take on the burden of trying to convince people not to be bigots. And that's honestly, that's a losing. That's okay. I'm going to rephrase that because that's a little bit too harsh. So people that want to learn, it's wonderful that you are there to provide, space for them to learn and to educate and to, allow them space to make mistakes and whatever. People that truly want to learn. But some people don't want to learn. Some people don't want to love trans people. Some people don't want to stop being bigots. And if you, as this very caring, compassionate person, you believe in the inherent worth and in the inherent ability for people to change and the ability for people to learn and grow, it's wonderful that you believe those things about people. And yes, it is true to an extent, but people that don't want to learn or aren't able to learn, well, whether it's that they're unable or unwilling to learn, or at least at the moment, giving too much of your time and your energy really only ends up hurting you. and hurting your ability to transform as well, because you deserve the ability to grow and transform as well. You are not just a midwife for other people's success or learning or growth. You can be a chubby little caterpillar and then a beautiful butterfly all on your own. You don't have to, let's help somebody else, let's help you into the cocoon now, dear, or let's open the cocoon now, dear. You don't have to do that for other people. And like I said, some people, if it's the right time, if they're open to learning, that is a wonderful thing. And it can offer you some genuine connections with people. That's great. I'm not saying to stop doing it. I'm just saying, if you're doing it for people who don't actually respect you, who won't use your pronouns, who won't accept you as the gender that you are, who consistently say bigoted things and don't change after repeated, attempts to let them know, hey, that's not okay. If they repeatedly disrespect your boundaries, if they repeatedly vote for people that hate trans people, if they repeatedly, picket against trans rights or something, if they refuse to change in any way, then there's no amount of you holding space or you teaching or you understanding that will make them change. They don't want to change. They're not going to do it. You can't force them to change. You can't force somebody to learn. You can't force someone to love you. And it sucks, especially if those are people that are close to you, especially if those are people that you love. God, I've been there with my own family of trying desperately to educate them, to say, here is the information that maybe you would need to understand me so that you can love me the way that you used to, or the way that I perceived that you used to. But then over time, they don't listen, they don't respect you, they don't try. And that's really painful. They just don't try. The bare minimum. You allow them to do the barest minimum to make you happy, to make you feel respected, to make you feel like they know and understand you, that they love you. You give them the bare, you allow them to do the bare minimum for you, and then they don't even do that. That's so painful. And that's not fair. That's not fair. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Now, that doesn't say anything about you, your worth, your ability to be loved. You are worthy of living of your life. You are worthy of love. You are lovable, and you already have so much love. Look at how much love and patience you have given to people that haven't given it back to you. Look at how much capacity, how much love you have. That is amazing. But what I would recommend is to see, to recognize when that love is going to someone who doesn't love you back. And to take that back and give that love to yourself instead. It's not fair when our loved ones, our partners, our parents, our siblings, when they show through their actions time and time and time again that they are unwilling to do the basic, bare minimum to make us feel loved. That's not love. They may say that that's love, and they're wrong. They're not doing the action of love. They are not loving you. Because love has to come with respect. Has to come with knowing who you really are. If they're unwilling to see who you really are, if they're unwilling to respect who you are, how could they love that? They can't even see it. So, if you're feeling any difficult emotions, take a moment right now to breathe with me. Remember that you're not alone. Remember that you have so much love that you deserve to have some of that love for yourself. Remember that you're not the only one. Remember that those people who consistently fall short of what you wanted them to be, of how you wanted them to be there for you, how you wanted them to be an ally, how you wanted them to love you, how you wanted them to support you, they consistently fall short. They're not giving back to you the love that you were giving to them, the patience, the compassion, the trust, the respect, the shepherding of their growth. Learn how to give those things back to yourself, to take that energy back into yourself. Let me think for a moment. If you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to reclaim that energy, to love yourself, to have patience and acceptance with yourself, what I find from personal experience and also from knowing others who have similar experiences, similar difficulties, often when we act this way, we're seeking external love, validation. We're seeking for other people to either tell us who we are, to reflect that back to us, or to say, that's okay to be that. It's okay. But it's still dependent on this external like this external person or this external force, whether or not somebody says that they validate you, whether or not somebody says, yes, I believe that's real, yes, I believe you, yes, I understand you, yes. And external things, people, are changeable and can be unstable. It's not a safe place to put something so important as our sense of love, our sense of worth, on this external person, on this external thing that you've tried to achieve, on this external facet of your life. When we place something so important as worth on external things, because of the changeability, inconsistency of other people, sometimes we will be so devastated because it is not there. Sometimes we will be very elated that it is there, but I think it's a firmer foundation. It's definitely, in my experience over time, learning how to give myself permission, give myself validation, give myself acceptance, give myself love, give myself belief that I am worthy of everything that I can experience in life. Giving that to myself has been freeing. I don't feel as much pain because there's no longer like guessing of, is it going to be there? Is this validation going to be there or is it not? I don't know, because it's always there. Whenever it's inside of you and you've learned to nourish it and to protect it and to grow it internally, it's always there. It's always there. And it's something that I've learned a lot of how to get there, and I still have a ways to go, you know? So I don't pretend to have all the answers as far as learning self-love and learning self-acceptance, but I can tell you some things that have helped me. Having therapy has helped. Even if you can't afford a therapist or don't have insurance, sometimes there are sliding scale clinics. Sometimes there are low cost or free options. You just kind of have to look around and see what's available near you, or see what's available online, or ask for resources that other people have found. Therapy has helped a lot for me. Having friends that are also going on similar journeys of self-acceptance and self-love, having people to talk to about it has helped. If you are someone who likes to do affirmations can help to rewrite some of the internal narratives that happen, can interrupt the internal narratives that, like trauma messages or things that say that I'm not this or that, or I'll never be happy, or, you know, like I said to pile one, and in fact, if you want to go back and look at pile one, just for this information, you can do that. But like I told pile one, whenever in your mind you think anything that says everything, nothing, always, or never, those are often trauma mindsets. Those are things that are holding you back from experiencing a full life. Those are lies that the brain tells you to self-protect. Those are survival mindsets that may have helped in past circumstances to protect from dangerous situations or dangerous people, but they're not true 100% of the time. And each of them tries to tell you, each of those kinds of beliefs tries to tell you that it is true 100% of the time, and it's not. So whenever you come up with a thought or that is like, no one will ever love me, stop yourself and say, no one. That sounds like a never, a nothing, a no one. That sounds like an absolute. Okay. An absolute tries to convince you that something is true 100% of the time, which means that it is not true. Because things are changeable. Nothing is eternal. The irony of that sentence, but like, bear with me. Things are changeable. So for when you take a belief like, no one will ever love me, no one will ever see the true me, take that and look at it, wait a minute, no one will, and then rephrase it. Say, some people do not love me. Some people will never love me. But some people do love me. Or some people will love me. And then hold both of those things together at the same time. Some people don't or will never love you, but some people will and do love you. Okay? And then remind yourself, I am one of the people that love me. Or at least I can be. I can be one of the people that loves me. Or no one will ever understand me or see the true me. Like, take it in. Oops, wait a minute. Look at it. Where was I? Sentence. Some people do not understand me. Or even, some people don't understand parts of me. But some people do understand me. Or some people don't understand parts of me, but they do understand other parts of me. Other people may understand different parts of me. Or a belief like, I'll never be happy. Take that, look at it. Never. 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 That sounds like an absolute. Take that never and say, well, since things are always changing, sometimes I will be happy, sometimes I will not be happy. And I think that I have the power to create happiness or create happy moments for myself sometimes. I want to see what those times are. Let's get an oracle card for this pile, just to see if there's anything else it has to say here. Alrighty. Freedom. You're lucky you get 2 oracle cards. We have freedom and release. Sometimes the freedom to change and to grow, you gain that freedom only after you've said goodbye to harmful or toxic influences in your life. Sometimes those are people that don't respect you. Sometimes you have to leave a particular environment, a particular friendship, a particular relationship before you can start to make changes toward your healing, toward learning how to love yourself. And it can be a very difficult decision to make sometimes. So I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is a group reading anyway, so different people may have different circumstances, and there are many different kinds of circumstances that someone can be in. Maybe you are in an environment where people don't respect you, and they're not willing to listen, and it's just a matter of time or waiting until you can maybe move out, get an apartment with somebody else, or find some way of leaving that environment, like I said, leaving a situation in which you are dependent on people that are not respecting you. Sometimes it is a matter of putting a little bit of distance. Like, you don't have to put all distance forever, Sometimes that kind of like break and no more is necessary, but sometimes there's in between ways that you can do that before you ever get to that point of like, you can start experimenting with setting boundaries. If you say, I don't appreciate the way that you talk to me, I don't appreciate the way that you misgender me, so I need you to gender me correctly. I need you to use my pronouns. And if you don't, I will have to create distance between us, meaning I will talk to you less. Set out, this is what I need, this is why I need it. You don't get to argue. You don't get to convince me that I don't need it. I am telling you, this is what I need. This is how it makes me feel when you don't recognize that. This is what I hope you will do with this information. This is how I want you to act toward me in the future. This is what I hope you will do. And if you do not do that, then this is how I will take steps to protect myself, to remove myself from your company, to set firmer to say, like, you can only interact with me on these days and these times, or you can only interact with me by phone, you can't see me in person, or you can only talk to me if there is somebody else present that I trust, that is on my side, different things. And then if they don't respect these, if they don't hear you and say, oh, I didn't realize how much that hurt you, I'm so sorry, I'm going to do better, and then they try to do better, that's wonderful. But if they don't realize that it's hurting you and they don't respect it and they don't make any changes, then follow through with this. Then I'm going to choose to spend less time with you. I'm going to remove myself from your presence. I'm going to not let you come to holidays with me and my partner. I'm, that sort of thing. Sometimes people only get it when there are consequences. And they see, oh, if I don't do this, then I won't be able to talk to this person anymore. Or I won't be able to come to holidays. Wow. But then, sometimes people never change. Even if you follow through with the consequence, you say, look, I can't do this anymore. So I'm going to start creating distance between us because you won't respect my boundaries. You won't respect my feelings. You won't respect my identity. So I'm going to start creating distance. Sometimes people never change, even if you do that. The point of doing this is not to change their behavior, although if they do change their behavior because of it, great. But the point of that is not to change their behavior. You're not manipulating them into doing anything. You are protecting you. You are removing yourself from a situation that hurts. So, and I think that, especially from experience, sometimes whenever we remove ourselves from a person or we remove ourselves from a situation, we do something new without this person or this situation. We stop inviting them to the rallies. Hey, look, we keep telling you to at the Capitol, whenever we're testifying for trans rights and whenever we're showing up to show our support for trans rights, you keep grabbing the mic and saying bigoted, stupid shit. Since you won't stop doing that, even knowing that it hurts us, we're not inviting you to the rallies anymore. You can't come. You can't come with us. Stop. Where was I? I'm gonna look back through this, editing this, and I'm gonna be like, oh, that's what I wanted to say. I'm so sorry. Making changes and moving on without that person or without that situation can be difficult because it's the unknown, right? You haven't been in that situation before, or you didn't want it to come to that, and that can be disappointing. It can be really upsetting, oh man, I really wanted them to be with me along this journey. I really wanted them to be the ally that they said that they were. I really wanted them to show up for me, to show up for trans people, but they didn't. And that's really sad. And I decided to start using my energy elsewhere. I decided to start using my energy to love myself, to do what I could do without worrying about them. They don't get my energy anymore. But it can still be a learning experience. It can be difficult in its own ways, and it's okay for you to take time before you decide, this is untenable, this is unlivable anymore. Some people don't always have I'm going to give you an example, right? What I'm saying is it's not always possible to leave, or it's not always possible to leave immediately. cut, whole stop, cut contact. Maybe sometimes that person is still going to be at the rallies and you just have to grin and bear it, but you don't have to talk to them. You can do your best to warn other people, hey, this person is here and they're going to try to grab the mic and say something bigoted. Just warn people. Don't let them do that. Or maybe you're living in an abusive situation where people have power over you, you're dependent on them, and they don't support you. Sometimes there are kids involved, sometimes you are financially dependent, sometimes there are lots of worries that you have about how am I going to survive if they're not financially or supporting me anymore, if I don't have a place to live. These can be very difficult decisions to make. Sometimes, if you were at the intersection of like being trans and disabled, or if you are trans and a person of color, if you experience racism, and maybe previously your family has been like some of the only people that has protected you and been on your side fiercely against racism. Maybe your friend group has understood intimately in a way where they also experience racism, and they have they have really understood and supported your experience, your lived experiences in that way, but they're not on board with you being queer, and that's hurtful, right? Or maybe, and then also if maybe the queer spaces that you do go to are primarily dominated by white people, and sometimes they act really racist, and that hurts. I hear that that's a really common problem of like queer people of color, trans people of color that are, at the intersections here where it's like, sometimes having to choose between, am I going to experience homophobia and transphobia, or am I going to experience racism? Which is awful. And I'm really sorry that you're put into situations like that. My point in bringing this up is that sometimes these decisions are not easy to make, to explore new options. Sometimes it takes a lot of time to find the right people there, or to envision a situation, to actually see, hey, there is an opening, there is an opportunity here for me to have a better life or a better experience. It takes a little while for you to be able to see that and to come to a point where you can make a change. Or sometimes, I've known people who are in an abusive family situation who are trans and queer, and because they are disabled, they are dependent. They can't leave their family of origin because their family of origin has financial control over them. So we do what we can when we can. And all I'm saying by giving these different options is that, by giving these different examples, is to say that you know yourself best. No one can tell you what the right thing to do is in these difficult situations. The example that I was going to give was, whenever people say, like, because of the transphobic legislation in different states like Texas, Missouri, etc., Florida, that are going on right now, there are people that will very ignorantly, kind of callously say, just move out of the state. Well, just move. Just leave Texas. Just leave Florida. Just leave Missouri. It's like, Not everybody has that kind of finances. Excuse me? Also, this is people's homes. People live here. People like living here. And just because the legislature is being awful, is being bigoted, is trying to take away our rights, that doesn't mean like we're, people have ties to where they grew up. So it's not that simple. I believe that you are someone who has the emotional depth and the wisdom to navigate through these situations. And it's okay if it takes time for the pathway to open up, for you to see a glimmer of light, to be like, that's it. That's what I need to do. Only you can decide for sure. But little ways, even if there are lots of other restrictions, even if you can't make changes yet, even if you can't make changes for a very long time or ever in particular ways, there are still little things here or there that can change. So the point is to focus on what you can do. And if you focus on what you can change, and you change those things little by little by little by little, over time, that's a lot of change. And new doors might open up later that you didn't ever expect. So keep the hope. Keep prioritizing your well-being, and keep working on, as much as you can, finding that internal, unconditional acceptance and love for yourself. That is the trans blessing that you can give to yourself. Your trans blessing is perseverance, wisdom, love, self-love, a deep emotional connectedness to humanity, and a hope, a deep hope that will carry you through your life. As long as you find little ways to change what you can, that is keeping your hope alive. Even if you have so many barriers to gender confirmation that you want to go through with eventually, little things, little changes, little steps. Not everything has to happen at once. And know that over time, little changes make big changes. And eventually, regardless of external circumstances, you will be the person who knows and loves you. You will be the person who is there for you no matter what. As I have told all of the piles, if you are feeling any kind of way, if you are feeling difficult emotions, always feel free to reach out. If you're in the United States, you can reach out to the Trans Lifeline. If you, again, if you're in the United States, you can reach out to the Trevor Project. There are, in most countries, there are hotlines in case you are feeling suicidal thoughts, feelings, suicidal ideation. There are helplines to help you to navigate those times, to help you to stay alive, to to get through the night sometimes is all you need. So someone who will stay awake with you and be with you a witness to what you're going through. So please reach out to one of those resources or to someone that you trust if you are struggling. All right, and thank you so much for watching this reading today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember that you are loved. Bye.